Hello, everybody. How are you today? Ah, it. I had the heater on down here. It's gotten warm in here. Oh, and this silly curtain. I like the lines on my face. Hold on one moment and let me try to close some of this. This is a mess. Okay. Well, hello. How are you this December 8th, 2024? I can't believe that in less than a month it's going to be 2025. Who would have thought? So let me get a fan on. All of a sudden I realized it really is hot. Hold on just a second, everybody. Let me get this fan turned on. It was cold down here this morning, but now it's nice and warm. And as you see, I've got my color wash quilt hanging up. And I honestly think I kind of like it this way best of all. I don't know, but I love it. And I see Miss Marcia there. Miss Marcia, I am so excited to show you something. You know, I have to send out your blanket. I haven't sent it yet, and it's a good thing because Mark came home with some Pepsi memorabilia the other day, and one of them is these push-pull sign and it should be 2 in here. I think I see 2, but you can always cut off the push-pull. But anyway, I just thought, since I'm sending you a package, throw it in. And the other one, which I think you'll like better, it's interesting. It's got a mirror on this side. And on this side, Share the Joy Pepsi ornament. So these are going to go out to Mary with her Pepsi blanket because she has been such a wonderful moderator, welcoming everyone to the group, and she's an avid Pepsi fan. So those are going to come out to Marcia because, as you know, he's retiring. So this will be about it for the Pepsi stuff. And I wanted to make sure our Marcia had something to thank her. So I'll have to now find something to send to Miss Joe for being such a good moderator too. So hello, everybody. And I've got a bunch to show you today. One of the first things is I'm wearing something brand new. And I bet you can't see it. If it's right here in my ear, it is my 2 new hearing aids. I've got one on this ear and this one. And they weren't cheap. You're welcome, Miss Marcia. You're such a sweetheart. Uh-oh, Cheryl can't stay. You're at your friend's while her husband is replacing your brakes. Aw, okay, you catch us on the replay. Good job for him fixing your brakes. That's wonderful. How nice to have a good friend to help like that. That is wonderful. And you know what I just realized? I had pictures to download. I'm going to find a way to grab them before we have show and tell. But I kept telling myself, I got down here 11 o'clock this morning because I've been determined to get some progress made on the UnderSea Quilt, and I have. I've gotten a good amount done on it. Well, I'll start us off with something fun. Mark said he was out on the driveway today, and the FedEx truck drove up. So, better to hear you with. Oh, hi, Debbie. It's so good to see you. Well, wait a minute. That's a good point that you brought up. I'm very glad that I have these. They have linked hearing loss with dementia. They also have decided that if you have too big of a hearing loss for too long, your brain takes those hearing receptors and converts them to other uses. So maybe it will do some, be used for your vision segments or whatever, but you have to be careful. You don't want to lose those connections if you don't have to. So when I went to the doctor who did my hearing test, and I picked up the results because I decided to go with the company that works with my Blue Cross Blue Shield because it saved me a lot of money. And I was able to get the top of the line hearing aids from them for about 2/3 less than the other hearing doctor. And, it all matters. It all counts. And so I think these hearing aids were like $1,900. And then, you pay tax. And then I opted to pay a little bit more and get the rechargeable ones so I didn't have to mess with batteries. But then I asked him, well, how long will how long will the rechargeable battery that's in it last? He said about 5 years. And I said, well, how much does it cost to replace that battery? He said, it means a new hearing aid. So, but Mark said it's definitely worth it. But let me tell you, when I put them in, all of a sudden, when I picked up the results of my hearing test, I've lost up to 62% of my hearing. That's significant, and it has affected me so much. Mark said, I realize now how hard you were working to try to hear and understand things. And that was very nice of him to say, because I was working very hard. And you shouldn't have to work that hard. But I'm going to warn you. I'm going to tell you good news, and I'm going to tell you the hard part of getting hearing aids when you've had a significant hearing loss. The good news is the new ear thing, the earpiece, they're called tulip shape that he put on here because I'm very sensitive to artificial materials, latex, things like that. And I don't know what these are made of now, but they have not made my ears itchy at all. Not a little tiny bit. And I've had them on up to 11 hours straight every day. So that's the good news because my other ones were so itchy. Oh, good. Laura's having her hearing test. Good, good, good. Because my hearing, I can hear better in low range, but speaking range was so terrible. And, but I'm driving home and I'm hearing all of these odd sounds. I thought that my turn signal indicator sound had stopped working. Oh no, it works fine. I could never hear it. And then I didn't realize that once you've turned the corner with the hearing thing, then it makes a loud click as it cuts the indicator off. By the time I got home, I could hear car engines. It sounded like people were driving too close to me. Um, any little noise inside the car, I was like kind of getting so touchy. And then I came home and I went upstairs and I told Mark, I said, everything is too loud. I mean, everything. And I didn't realize how loud Kiwi was. And it really depressed me. But then Mark started talking to me. And the voice that I now hear is not the voice I thought he had. And I just burst into tears. And I was like, I can't handle this, And right then, I just wanted to take them out and say, that's it. I'm not going to do hearing aids. Everything, commercials were so irritating. Now, when I got them, he only turned them up 80% because he said, if I put them at 100%, you won't be able to handle it. And he was right. And he showed me how to turn them down and soften the sound so that if I got periods where it was just too much. But I had no idea how much hearing I had lost, and how quiet of a world I lived in because of it. So the first day and the second morning, I spent a lot of time crying. I would hear a certain thing. It's not what I thought. I would end up getting touchy, like running water into dishes to wash them. It was so much noise. Flushing a toilet was so much noise. But my daughter reminded me that she said, Mom, when I drive, yes, if I listen or pay attention, I know the turn signal makes a clicking sound. She said, but you tune it out after a while. So she said, I'm pretty sure that's going to happen with your hearing aids. You, once you become accustomed to hearing those things again, you'll learn which things to tune out. But like Mark, I had him put them on because I thought I need you because he has probably about a 20% hearing loss. He has a minor hearing loss. He put them in and he went, oh my God, I see what you mean. You hear your hair touch the hearing aids. You hear, it's just everything everywhere. And so he understands a little better. But I have yesterday this is hilarious. Where is, oh, here. It has an app on your phone, and I handle my hearing aids with my telephone. So let me pull it up. And for some of you who might not have a hearing loss, I'm sure this is boring to you, and I apologize. But I have a feeling there are a lot more of us with a hearing loss than not. And if I can give you my experience and help you in any way make your decision, then that is great. Now, here is the hearing app, so I can turn the volume up or down by just sliding this button. Very helpful because you don't want to have to pull your hearing aids out when you're at a restaurant to just adjust them. Now, then it has a balancing thing, and I can make the sound sharper or softer. So let's say I'm watching a television show and it just sounds mumbly, then I will push it up and make it sharper. Wow, it does make it sharper. But I'm going to drop it when it's just Mark and I sitting in the evening. I just dropped it down to soft. It feels so much better. Now, let's say you go out to a restaurant. This has a brand new feature called directional hearing. And yes, yes. And then um let's say he said you've got a noisy table of people sitting behind you. Then all I do is I push this little A and it allows me to change. Look, push A. Okay, come on. Better look at it first. Come on. Push A. Direction A. Come on. Well, it's for some reason it's not letting me show you. But when you push A, I can make it so because he said the hearing aids listen for human voice all around you. And he said, oh, here it is. It did work. It just was slow. So now, in fact, you know how I noticed something happened? I mean, all of a sudden my ears got quiet up here and you could feel the difference. So what I'm going to do now, I turned it. So if that table's noisy behind me, I just shut it off. And it then will not pick up noise from back there. And then I can concentrate right here. And I can make it so I just want to concentrate on Mark, I can make it only listen to right up front. So now I turned it back on. Wow. It is amazing. So now I actually look forward to putting my hearing aids in today. But be prepared that if you get new hearing aids, and see, I had hearing aids before, but I got them in 2005 and they really weren't working anymore, not for a long time. And they were dinosaurs compared to what you can get now. So I just wanted to share with you that if you need to get hearing aids, I want you not to be afraid. and try to make sure you have, um, try to make sure you choose an insurance company or whatever, to assist, whatever, and encourage them to cover as much as they can of these hearing aids. Also, it we really need to push to have hearing aid costs go down, because I still think they're incredibly too high. So, but anyway, the thing is, I can't wait until they get actually cheap. And but I think with these being the insurance, these were $9.99 each or 900 each, but they have another one, a starting one, that's probably about 600 or less each. So, there are, and that's just what my insurance covers. And but check with your insurance company. Whatever, I have MedGap, and then there's also all of the other insurance. Like if you have one of the, is it type C? So you've paid for this, you've put your money in over the years, make sure you claim it. All right. So, but thought I would tell you, I find I talk a lot softer now because I sound louder to myself. So, in fact, sometime um, Mark said, "You're talking too soft now." I wanted to tell you too, they're very tiny. They sit so beautifully on top of my ears. I don't have to worry about them falling out. I was worried that having my glasses on a string would make me lose them like the old ones, but the old ones were much bigger. These are wonderful, and I just have to remember to put them in the little charger at night and all of that. So, if hopefully that didn't bore you, but if anybody has been afraid of hearing aids, I mean, I hated my old ones. They made my ears itch so bad. I was just like, ooh, and they were probably latex, and now it's probably silicone, and it didn't even bother me. And the way this tulip thing is, it's layers. It just goes in so smoothly, and he gave me extras and ways to clean them, and it's wonderful. So far I'm very happy, finally very happy. Well, so Mark was going, he was out on the driveway, and he said a FedEx truck pulled up today and dropped off a fabric package, and I know now what fabric it is. Oh, and I need to tell Lisa, if Lisa shows up today, let me know, because I got my hotel reservation extended so I have a little time to relax while I'm there, because I didn't really have a vacation this year. We went to the lake house, but that was all the wedding stuff, and I was exhausted. So I'm looking forward to having a little break. So, if you remember correctly, I'm I got in. Let me grab my folder to show you. I got in the class that Lisa, well, I mainly wanted, and Lisa's taking it too, bless her heart. This is the colorway that got my interest. Okay. And I'm not following it totally, but it gave me the general idea. So I went on Missouri Star Quilt site, because they have the most amazing groups of fabric. And look at, I love the way they pack them. This is Bella by, oh gosh, oh, what's the fabric? Um, this is Designer Essentials, Moda. Bella, I do believe, is by Moda. And so let me lay these out. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay. Let me bring this up a little bit so you're not too close. Let me bring the light in here a little. This is going to be my background. And I went on Pinterest. I went everywhere looking for, Like here is the pattern picture. But this is the one that I said, oh, I really like that. I made a couple little tiny changes, and let me show you. So this is going to be my background fabric because I love a good blue. This is called Nantucket. It's more blue than blue-green, but I love it. It's a nice grade. It has that nice grade hue. So I'll turn it over here so you can see it. All right, so this is the biggest piece of fabric. Then here, I got a cream color for the different parts of the bird. Then they had used navy. I wanted a dark, but not quite navy because then the navy almost looked black. So here is the dark shade for the birds. Then for the tail and the beak, I got a real nice warm gold. So far, I think I'm doing pretty good. Then it needed a light tone for the bird. And here is my light tone. So let me lay them out again. I love the cream. I'm so glad I got cream instead of white. And whoops, let me turn these over. I think it's going to be pretty. I'm trying for subtle. And you know Deb, she normally goes for bright and crazy. So subtle is harder. Now, they have kind of a rust. But I saw this, and this one's called Tea Rose. And so I got that just to have, because, you know, all of these are subdued tones. I wanted this one to be that little pop of color. So here is the pattern. Here are the fabrics. I have black on my own because I'll use black for the eyes. And let me see. Then this dark will also be used for these little half square triangle blocks right here. So I think I'm going to like it. And now that I have the fabric, right after Christmas, because I know I probably won't have any time till after Christmas, I can go ahead and do the cutting that the teacher wants us to do before we get to class. So I'm very happy with this. I think that the prices were good. And I think altogether maybe it was $60, but it's quite a bit of fabric. And the way they package it, how you like the rosy color? Good. I just thought it might. I was afraid if I really went with rust, it would be a little too dull. And I know that Jenny Beyer always taught me that, you know, try to go shade lighter or darker on some of them. And this gold was slightly darker, and this was the lighter. And this, instead of white, I thought the cream would be a nice touch. So there they are. I can't wait to make this quilt. I think it's going to be just wonderful. And you know, it's hard to look at the fabric colors on the site to make sure, but I do like this now. I thought this I thought would have more green in it, but actually I'm glad that there is enough contrast. So I think it will work. Thank you. Thank you for your support. So let me go put this away because I get nervous. I don't know about y'all, but I get nervous when I'm picking out fabric. I feel like, oh gosh, I could ruin, you know, because I have, honestly, I have made quilts where I did a terrible job of picking out the color. What I thought in my head was not how it looked in reality. And that's why now, there's Lisa. Yay! There you go. A lighter version for spring. That's a wonderful idea, Lisa. That's wonderful. So I'm real tickled with the colors. You just don't know until you get them in. It's a little bit scary. So I'm looking around to see. I'll go ahead and show you this really quickly. I know I told you that I wouldn't be doing a whole lot with Christmas decorations this year. I just haven't had that oomph to do it. I apologize. But um, I did want to show you two ideas. Now, firstly, and let me pull open this drawer for just a moment because I think I have some of these. I've probably tucked them away somewhere. But I have a bag of miniature little wooden sewing spools, but I'm not seeing them right now. But a friend made this for me, and she took the miniature spools and wrapped and glued a little fabric, whatever color you want, around the spool, then stacked and glued the spools into a Christmas tree shape, then put a bow and a hanger. So I wanted to show y'all that. And then I ordered some of these. And I thought, oh, I love these. I love them in any form. I have several different. So I thought, well, I've got these clear ornaments. What can I do with those in the clear ornaments? And here I have a little skewer because that'll help me put these in the ornament where I want them. Now, I first put them in the ornament, but I already knew this would happen. I just put them in the plain ornament and they kind of just all dropped at the bottom. So then I thought, oh, take a scrap piece of batting, especially the polyester because it's so nice and white, put that in the ornament. So I first put the batting in a ball shape, wrap this a couple ways around it, cut an extra bit because now once I have the batting in the ball, then what I will do is come in here and carefully push the rest of these little ornaments, these little pretend light bulbs, push them in around this. And I'll take my time and do it. But like, see, I can come in here with this skewer and I can move these around and get them just the way I want. So this is something I want to take a little bit of time with, but pardon me. I've cut them long enough. Right now, just going to kind of put them down there for the moment so I don't end up tangling them or accidentally putting them out. But I'm just going to drop these down in here and then I'll put the lid on. But when I go upstairs, and you know what you can do so it's easier to work with it? What I would do is put a little bit of hot glue on the end of this because the hot glue will act a little bit sticky. And that way, when you push it in to push on these things, it will stick to them better so you can move them exactly where you want them to go. And I want to take the time to put them just where I want them. But you see, it's a little bit tricky, but I think with just a little bit of hot glue, it will make them just sticky enough that I can put them in. And then when I'm done with getting them just where I want, I will put the top part on here and then put a nice bow on it. And there is a Christmas ornament. So I just thought I would show you that. And these were relatively inexpensive. So it's a lot of fun. All right. So I'm going to put that down there for now. And then I'm going to come now and see all who's here. And let's see who's here. And then we have the UnderSea Quilt that I've done a lot on. And then I've got a surprise that I've been working on that if you're really sharp-eyed, you might have a clue what I did this week. Okay. Oh, Lisa's already cutting her fabric. Okay, let me go back. And oh, hello. Let me see. Who did I thought I saw somebody? Maybe I was wrong. Let me see. Lisa was the first person here. Hi, sweetie. And then Marcia and Debbie and Laura, who's going in for her ear test this week. And I don't know if you've ever had an ear test, Laura, but I get nervous before I have them because I feel like there's right and wrong answers. Just sit back and relax. Don't get intimidated. And just, if you hear something, let them know. All right. So I can be a ninny when I go to doctors. Oh, it was cold. Yes, it has been so cold. But I'm hoping today is warmed up a little. It was really cold. Okay, we had Marcia. You'll have to tell us if you have snow. We woke up Wednesday morning with a dusting of snow. And then unfortunately, it was black ice, and a fire truck went off the road and turned over. So, they ended up closing schools, and it was just a dusting. But that black ice is dangerous. So I'm hoping some of you, other of you, got. I'm just checking my hearing aids because they're still a little new for me. But I hope some of you got snow. Mitty is here. It is so good to see you, Mitty. Oh, Cheryl Hogan. I just think it's so nice her husband's replacing her brakes. That is important, especially this time of year. So, how nice to see. Cheryl Hogan is a doll baby, isn't she? So, and Debbie is here, and Marcia needs to see an eye doctor. Speaking of that, Marcia, Monday I went in for my eye exam. And I have to be careful because I have type 2 diabetes and I don't want to lose my vision. And diabetes is not good for eyes. But she said everything looks super, no problems. So, still had great. She said, your vision is wonderful. So I don't have to worry. And I had this cataract removed. I still have this cataract, but it's not bad enough to worry about. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry. So, what made them itchy? Oh yeah, you just have to. I've always been, my skin and everything doesn't like elastic and all that. I am a cotton girl. I try to wear all cotton fabric as more than I can, whether it's undergarments, cotton sports bras or cotton underwear. I really have to. So I like, if I put a band-aid on something, it will make my skin red and raised. So that's why with my ears have been a problem my whole life. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was constantly getting ear infections. I found out later I was allergic to cigarette smoke, and both my parents smoked. So I never got away from it. And I've had my eardrums rupture numerous times. So, and then there's a family history of nerve deafness on my father's side. So it was inevitable that I would end up with a hearing loss. So, yeah, but I think, Laura, if you have to have the new hearing aids, make sure to let them know you have itchy ears. For me, it's always been a sign of my allergies. Let them know, and then they'll put um, a type of thing that goes in your ear. They'll put what they think is the kind to least give you trouble. So I'm thrilled because when I got them last time, oh, they itched terribly. So, okay. It's so good to see you though, Laura, and let me know how your ears do. Joni, hi, beautiful girl. So Joni is our young and lovely girl. I tell you what, she is window dressing for this site, let me tell you. And talented, goodness gracious, talented. So Betty Meis, Meisner. I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say Meisinger. I knew somebody Meisinger when I used to work at the museum. So, but it's Betty Meisner. I apologize. So, okay, let's see. New Year's resolution. I'm terrible at them, but oh, You had a table. Lisa had went to dinner the other night with Sam, and the table was so noisy they couldn't enjoy their dinner. Don't you hate that? Because I'm sorry, to go out to eat is expensive, and then to have rude people. Oh gosh. Okay. It is so good seeing you. And then hopefully Lisa. Oh, good. You are there. You're getting there on Tuesday. Excellent. Excellent. And I was really pretty pleased. Evidently, I made reservations at the other hotel and he moved me to be right near the group. I was thrilled. And I got the new discount rate too. So it was like, okay, now I can do a couple days extra. So that's wonderful. I can't wait. I love that thing so much. Oh, okay, Lisa. I will have to check on your colorway for the sparrow quilt. Polly, hi. Yes, Joni. Oh my gosh, she is the queen of confetti quilts. She does the best work I've ever seen with confetti quilts. It's beautiful. Hi, Regal Rose. Oh, you've been watching us every week. You're not in the Christmas mood either. I know. It is so choosing low key and whatever feels peaceful. I totally, I totally understand. I am right there with you. I told Mark right now, I'm just, with certain things that are happening out there, I'm having a rough time keeping my spirit up. So, and you know what? Sometimes you can't push us. So, Regal, you you lurk anytime you want, sweetheart. So, oh, that's wonderful. Um, yes, and if any of you don't aren't sure of the email address of another person, but you want to correspond with them, then just contact me and I will give it to you. And I'm again tell you our time to quilt at twc.com. Okay. And I put this out. This is the business email, but otherwise, I have a personal email too. So, but I know most people don't want to put their personal, you know, on here. So you're never in the Christmas spirit, Polly. Aw, that reminds me of Mark. It's like he can't help it. If I start talking about something Christmas, he kind of grumbles. He tries not to, but it's kind of hard. But for me, I love the whole Christmas spirit so much, I can't tell you. So now I think we're going to pull out the. Before I got on here, I was cutting sashing. I'll show you that in just a wee little bit. All right. All right. Yeah, this week I had to go to the eye doctor Monday, and then Thursday went to the hearing aids, and it's kind of, getting used to something new. Are any of you noticing as you get older, new things kind of bother you? So, but anyway, let me bring some bags over here. I made sure. I have felt terrible about putting off working on this UnderSea Quilt. I was determined to um, determined to get some work done on it. Okay, just checking. All right, here we go. So I'll show you first what I've done on it this time. And as you can see, I actually made some real progress. I have an audiobook I'm listening to, and it I'm gonna tell you, because some of you are like me. When you work, you love listening to audiobooks. And this is right on YouTube, and it's called The Ladies' Room by Carolyn Brown. Oh, I highly recommend it. It is funny. It takes place in Oklahoma, and there are a lot of Southern language colloquialisms, things that you can relate to. She is funny. Cheating, multiple cheating ex-husband. I can relate. So let me tell you. All right, so now I'm going to bring you down here and show you. You know what? When I was showing you the colors, I had a light on there, and I bet you it wouldn't let you see the colors as good as I would like. All right, here, I'm going to just come in here. All right, I was looking at some of these inspiration photos to get ideas of plants and things that I wanted to have in this. See this plant right here? Here is my representation of that. And I had it laying kind of flat because we're at this stage, I'm gluing things down, and then I'm going to sew them down after that. Then I took some of this tulle ribbon and I stitched all the way up, scrunched it, put it here, but first tucked the sea turtle under it to give it some depth. Then I'm using this wonderful frizzy yarn at the base of things to, just to look like some kind of scrubby plant. But this, anyone recognize this? This is an onion bag. And I love those plastic net bags. Isn't that neat? And might as well put them on here, keep them out of the ocean. Definitely be very careful with your plastics out there. Okay, so then now, remember some of this ribbon that I bought? I glued this on and I put my parrotfish under it. And he'll look more like a parrotfish once I work on, I don't see one right now, but once, and even with these, I can put stem looking kind of, the veining in the kelp by sewing or using ink tints or permanent markers. But I tucked him underneath here so I could glue these over it. This is supposed to be a sea cucumber. What it really is a compression finger cot. And it was way too tight for my big fingers. So now it's a sea cucumber. And I was trying to make it glue and stick back here because I wanted you to be able to see the opening a little. So I'll have to come back and sew that. But then here, I wanted to recreate some of this kind of look, some of this kind of look. Whoops, did I show you? Yeah, this kind of look. And some of these are brain coral or different plants. And like, see some of this right here? So what I did is this is a fringe right here. Whoops, come back. Okay, so this is a fringe that I used at one point on a pillow. Had that left over. Here is some chenille yarn. Here is some pink trim that I kind of clumped together. Then some eyelash yarn and some of that mossy looking yarn around the edges. I also took this fabric, which is a great idea for background. It can peek through. It's nice to have some background. Then over here, I found this fabric and thought it kind of gives you that gauzy look of seeing something in a distance through water. And then I put something in the foreground here with the sweet lips fish. Remember this one? If you want, you can do like just little funny things. This is a kind of humorous one. Here is my lionfish that I put a mane on it from sunflower fabric. Then I put my surgeonfish over here with his stethoscope. Then I had drawn these with ink tints and I used some of my eyelash yarn and glued it on this one. So I'm using good tacky glue, and then I will sew it down. Now, this right here is my interpretation of this fan coral right here. See this fan coral? So this is my interpretation of that. This is a fringe. Then here is another onion sack, plastic onion sack. And that is my interpretation. And then this down here and some of these others, like right in here. See this? Whoops. This one right there. I interpreted that with an old bath, one of those bath scrunchy things, and then some more chenille yarn. And then this is supposed to remind you of these. See how these funny little sea corals look? And like in here. So this is to represent that. Now, my octopus is going to be here, but I haven't started on that yet. So, this is what I've got going right now. I still have plenty more to do, but I just wanted to show you. And by using the glue and then carefully to sew this stuff down, I'll either do it, I can do it by hand, or I'll use a jeans needle carefully on a sewing machine. Okay, carefully. All right, because some of the glue and the trims make quite a tough area to sew through. But I'm going to have some of the sea life, like trying to pack around some of this, so that the fish will be trying to clean out and around some of these things. I've got a lot more inspiration photos that I'll pull, but notice that it's brightest close up. As it recedes in the background, it loses color to the point where it's almost a gray-green kind of ghostly look. Even here, see, the further away, because you've got that thickness of water between your eyes and these things in the background. So remember that. Now, today, I thought, well, let's look at making a little crab to go somewhere. Oh, and before I get to that, Mark and I collect things that we've gotten off the beach. Look at this. Isn't that cool? And I would have to make sure I firmly attach that. It looks like wonderful undersea things. Then I've got all kinds of shells. And this moss, wouldn't that be a wonderful, like fan coral? And I just have to make sure to glue it firmly, glue and hand sew. And I've got shells of all different sizes. So once I have everything done and have it quilted, then I will put some of these things down. And this is your quilt. You get to do whatever you want. I will even have some real little sandstone that I glue down, because I like having quilts that my grandchildren can come touch and observe, and I want it three-dimensional. So, and the flatter the stone, the easier it is to have it stick. This one sits out a little high, but these are better choices. But I have others like that too. So then over here, now, I have planned on doing this at some point, but Mark brought me home some sand from a beach in North Carolina. So I've thought of pulling that sand out and gluing that onto the quilt. That has to be after everything else is done. I picked these off of the beach in Myrtle Beach years ago, but if I'm very careful, what I think I would do first is take a sealer. a matte sealer, not a glossy. I guess you could do glossy, but matte sealer, put it on nice and thick to help keep it from being brittle. This was a living plant, and I ended up finding it on the beach. So, and then these could go, probably up close since they're a little bit big. Remember that the bigger things go in the front, they get smaller as they go back. But in this bag, I've got clam shells, bits of oyster shells. Oh, I see something. Now, this is part of a conch shell. See the wonderful spiral? But look at this. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? So I can glue that. So I've got lots of things. And this was part of what looks like it could have been a clamshell. But I've got wonderful things that I can put on this. So it's a wonderful way to take these little treasures you find on the beach and put them in some place, something that you see. So they're not just tucked away. Look at this little shell there. Isn't that wonderful? So I will be definitely using these, and but I want to make sure they are the last things to go on once it has been thread painted or sketched, once it's been quilted. All of that has to happen before I put these on, because these, and there are different ways to put them on. You can use a very strong glue. You can drill oh my gosh, I gotta show you this one. I just saw this. Oh, look at this precious little baby. Come here, little baby. Look at this cute little. And see, what I could do is Mark has a Dremel, and he could drill a little inconspicuous hole, and then I could sew it down. But that is precious. And look at the colors. And if you want them, you know how that when they're wet, the colors come out? Well, put a little sealer on them. Then the colors will come out beautifully. So I've got some great things in here to use. So I just wanted to remind you, look, if you live near a place with shells, great. You can always buy them from a craft store, and and oops, let me put these back. These are precious. When I found those, I was so excited. So when we go to Myrtle Beach, I've got to get back out on that beach and look for some more treasures. But I thought I would make a little crab. So what I said, I want a little spiral shell and a cute little face, because I am doing cute little faces. So here is the face that I'm going to make for this little crab. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that black outline. Trying to decide. I'm going to leave only one of these legs. This is really a gecko, but I'm going to only leave one little leg to look like a claw, but I am going to use the other one. I want to put it in a different direction, because I want this to give me a feeling of claws, not little front legs. Now, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this gecko printed tail. That's going to be the shell. Okay. So I bring this around. I'm going to trim it. And what I'm doing is just taking my fabric. This is just a fun quilt. This is not supposed to be an amazing reproduction of something accurate to nature. This is just having fun. But sometimes we just have to play. We started this when we were feeling a little depressed this summer, and a lot of our creative spark had just disappeared. Okay, Now let me cut this little out a little bit more. Okay. I thought this little gecko face was just too cute. I'm going to leave a little extra around this little foot because then I'm going to cut. Let me look for good color. Aha. I think I'm going to cut this orange for this claw. So now I have some claw material, and here we go. So all I have to do is turn this into a little claw like this. Okay. I can't wait to show you my surprise I've been working on this week. All right. So this claw, whoops, the way I cut it, it's going to go onto this foot. So let me get my, and a lot of crabs have one big claw and one little. So one is a crusher, the other one's kind of a grabber, so they're used for different things. So I'm going to do that with this guy too. And I want this to look like a little hermit crab. All right. So this is going to, I'll put it under here. Okay. So this one's going to come off this side. And let me see. All right. What I'm going to do is cut off a little bit of this excess. All right. Here we go. So here now, I've taken a gecko and I have turned it. I'm going to take off some of this head. His head's a little bit big. I'm going to take off a little of this. All right. So now I've taken the little gecko and turned him into a cute little hermit type crab. So, and I'm going to pick a place. And I'm going to place him right there. So there is a cute little hermit crab. And then next week, I'm hoping to have more progress done. I want to get some seahorses in here, and I would like to get seahorses and then get my octopus going because I'm very excited about the octopus. So let me get this out of the way. And now you'll see our little, whoops, be careful where you drop scissors. Um, so here is my little hermit crab. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit more off that head because I just feel like he's got too big of a head for a hermit crab. Okay. All right. Let me get a little bit of this off. And this is what you do. You just create on the fly. There we go. You create on the fly, and that's what collage landscape is all about, is just cutting and gluing, then stitching, and see what you get. So it's coming along, finally coming along. All right. But I hope I give you some ideas of things you can use when you're working on yours. And it's just a matter of keep working on it. You might not like, that all the quilts get to an ugly stage, an awkward stage, and you keep going because it will. There is a magic point where it all pulls together. But you've got to be comfortable with, okay, in fact, I'll show you. I did not put this fish on it because I don't like this fish. So I'm going to do some very brutal editing of this fish. And if I can bring her back to where I like her, she can be on the quilt. But if not, she gets edited out. All right, let me grab just a couple things. Hold on real quick. I don't know where my little paint carousel is. All right, let me bring some things over here. I need to go grab a sponge brush. I will be right back. All right, I found my paintbrush carousel. Here it is. All right, now I have put my protective silicone sheet somewhere in here. I'm just not sure where. So, remember last week we were looking at this. This idea came out of Quilting Arts, and I think it was from summer of this year, in fact. And I just loved that quilt. I'm in a rainbow mood. And so I just saw this and went, oh, I love that. Now, the article is by Cindy Lobeck. And what she does is she uses potato starch, corn dextrin, and there's a whole article in this about how she uses those starch paste as resist. Okay. And like here it shows some put on there that it can get crackly, but she does amazing things with using the resist. And I'm fascinated with that. I have tried different resist with different degrees of success or failure. And here is her making up the resist and painting it on or using stencils. So I got really excited about this. But I haven't ordered any resist. And right now, I just saw that quilt and thought, I love it. What can I do to try to make it? So I'm going to show you what I came up with. Thank you to Miss Cindy Lobeck, because I love getting new ideas of how you can, any new way of creating is a wonderful thing. So since I couldn't find my special sheet to protect, I'm going to use this Tyvek mailing pouch right here. And I'm now going to bring you over and show you what I did. Okay. All right. Let me bring back over my light. All right. And this has a sticky side. All right. So this is what I've been working on this week. Are you ready? Here we go. So I've got some that have a plain background, but a patterned circle. Then some have a patterned background with a plain circle. I've got a bunch of these that I made this week. I'm going to show you how I did it, because these, I'm just about ready to put these into the sashing and make a quilt. And you see, use bright, happy colors. But remember, we've been talking about how do you get out of the 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 dumps and the creative wasteland. Sometimes you just pick up something and say, you know what? I want to do something like that. So let me show you. I've got two pieces that need painting. I wanted to make sure to use another green. I had this green, but I thought that lime green sure would be wonderful. Okay, so, and then I'll show you how I sew them, because I've got a few left, so I can show you that. Got my paper towel. Remember I told you I bought these stencils, and they're kind of delicate, so be gentle with them. So I bought these stencils, and now what is this? I'm not sure what that's about. That wasn't supposed to be in them, but I'm going to pull out one of these stencils, and let me see what, oh, that's pretty too. I used a stencil that had a lot of small spaces on it. So I'm looking, I think I'm going to use this one right here. Now, I can, but I don't think I have to, but I can use some painter's tape to put these down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to painter's tape this into place right here. And then I'll have to move it, tape it back down again to do the next one. All right. Now, what I'm using to do this painting, I'm using a textile medium. So I use a little bit of textile medium, just a little, maybe about 4 or 5 drops worth. Whoops, I forgot. I still have the seal on it. Okay. So I have to pour, whoop, that was too much, but I'm going to make a good amount, so that'll probably be fine. All right, and I'm going to use a sponge brush. Then I'm going to come in here with some white paint. Oops. I've been using a lot of it, but I've got more. I just don't have it right here with me right now. And to give this a little extra brightness, all right, let me get this. Give this a little extra brightness. I'm going to, okay, put, this is a little pearl paint. Paint with just a slight pearlescent quality. And it's a little creamier than straight white, but it does have that really nice little sheen to it. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now, take this brush, and I'm just going to mix the medium and the two paints, the pearl and the pure white. Okay. Very good. Very, very good. All right. And then just brush the excess off here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? one thing I did to keep it from, let me try to help. I'm blowing on it to try to help dry it up a little. I forgot to bring down. I'm going to go run get it. Stay right here. I'll be right back. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry, it took me longer than I planned. Okay, here we are. Find it. All right, what I've got, sorry about this. Okay. I hope you had a great trip, Miss Debbie, going to Houston to see your family. This is baking soda. Just good old baking soda like you use in a recipe or to scrub the kitchen sink. Good old baking soda. So, what I did is use the baking soda to thicken the paint so that it goes on the stencil without being so runny that it runs under the edge of the stencil. Because you want the stencil to be reasonably, clean edges. Okay. But baking soda can be a great thickener. Now, I don't really know if I had a textile medium that was a nice thick one, that would be super. I don't know what this does for color fastness. I just don't know. But this is not an heirloom quilt, nor is it a show quilt. This is just for fun. So if a few years down the line it fades a little bit, that's okay too. So what I do is I find that the sponge brush works. And do you see how the paint is slightly thicker? So what I do, now these stencils, I tried scrubbing them and realized that there's little parts of the stencil that get bent. It's a very thin, probably silicone stencil. So I just kind of come here, and pounce a little. Or if you get enough on it, you can just kind of brush it across. But since I thickened the paint, it shouldn't run under the stencil if I'm careful. But you kind of got to be careful. It's probably better to pounce it more than doing too much rubbing, especially if you don't want to bend some of the cute little stencil details that are just kind of hanging out there. And make sure, especially if you use a thin stencil like this one, make sure to soak it in warm water as soon as you're done using it, so that you don't leave a buildup that closes up those cute little details. So you just kind of go along here. Now, all of my other blocks that have this paint effect on them have been ironed to heat set the paint. And don't add so much baking soda that you make it rocky, or you don't want it too granular, just enough to kind of thicken it a little. And it will give it a slightly gritty texture. But this is going to be an art quilt. This is not going to be a snuggle quilt, which all of that makes a difference. Because just putting acrylic paint on it changes the feel. Now, if you didn't want this to have a texture, then I would thin the acrylic paint very thinly, but you won't get as good a coverage. I like the dynamic look of this. All right, so now I've pretty much covered it. I'm going to carefully lift up the tape. And there is your pattern underneath. Then I'm going to put it back down beside this one and overlap it just a little. If you don't overlap it, you'll have a strip down the middle like a no man's land. And you want to make sure that the pattern pretty evenly covers everything. Okay, and then you do the same thing here. Now, when I did certain colors, I tried to use the same pattern on all of them. Be careful that you don't put too much along this edge since I've overlapped it, because you don't want to create a big swath of white paint. You want it to have a little pattern here, which makes it so cute. I mean, I think that is so cute. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So now that the paint is thicker, and you can see how having a sponge painter And let me tell you, don't worry about your little sponge brush because you'll have to probably throw it away after this because all of that daubing can be kind of hard on this sponge because this is an inexpensive little brush. Whoops, come back over there. Don't get paint on my ironing board. There we go. Okay, so now I'll pull this off like I did before. Oops, be careful. I ended up getting too much overlap in the center. But the good news is this will have a circle over the center, so it'll cover up most of that. So it can be a pretty forgiving process, even if you make a little oopsie. All right, I'll put this now over this circle. Now, what you need to do for this pattern is you want one plain circle, one plain square, one pattern circle, one pattern square, because they go on the opposite. So if you have a pattern background, you'll put a plain circle. If you have a pattern background, a plain background, you'll put a pattern circle on it. But it's a lot of fun. And in fact, I did this up in my reclining chair because it wasn't very messy. And I have a lap desk that I worked on. And another good thing, because it's acrylic paint, it dries so quickly. So hopefully by the end of this show, this will be dry. But I would paint them, put them aside. The next day, I'd move on to the next step. But this is just so simple. And when I saw those stencils, I thought to myself, I could do this. I think I could take white paint or whatever color paint you want. I tried doing some with black paint and I just didn't like the way it came out. I'm just going to wipe off this little brush. I know that the sponge one is probably no good. But and then I was going to show you, there was one other thing. Let me see if I can find it. I have, yes, I know, right. Where it is. Let me see. Okay. I had one of these that needed a little touch more paint, and I wanted to show you what I do if that happens. Is this it maybe? And it's like right by this edge. Then I just take a small paintbrush because if I didn't quite paint all the way to the edge, then you just come in with a white paintbrush and some of that same paint and you just hand fill it in and try to mimic the pattern that's already been in the stencil. And then you just come in, fill that in, and you know you don't need to do right up to the edge because you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But if it didn't take good, then just come fill it in. So it's that simple. It's very user friendly. And this is not using the resist. This is painting with using stencils, painting the design. In fact, did I? I don't think I showed you this, did I? No, I think I was off camera. Let me show it again. But I just come in here where some of the little patterns I missed, just come in here with a little paintbrush and put them back in. Or if there's somewhere that the paint didn't quite stick good enough, you feel like it's a little too blah, then just use a thinner brush, come in here, fill it in to mimic the design the stencil had, and there you go. It's that easy. All right, I'm going to clean this brush pretty good too. All right. Now, it's really important to clean your brushes good because once the acrylic dries, it'll mess up that brush. All right, so this is all done. Let me get this out of the way, and I'm going to show you the next step. But this is just simple, easy tricks. You don't have to worry about having fancy supplies, anything. All right. Now I'll move this out of the way. I apologize for my dogs. Mark has been out. Um, Now, let me show you. Let's say I didn't want this to end up where it did. So what I'm going to do is take a slightly sharp edge. Now you could mix up some lime colored paint, but I'm going to come in here and just try to scrape. Use something sharp. I know what would be better than this. I'm going to get another one of my skewers and use the end and just scrape away some of that paint. And when it dries, it won't be perfect, but it will be better than the bright white. And just try to scrape, scrape it real good. You can always cut another piece of fabric if you're worried about the way it looks, or take a lime green fabric marker. And you can especially go over where you've done the scraping to get it cleaned off. But if you're going to scrape it, you have to do it right while it's wet. Once it's dry, it's there. One time I borrowed a beautiful little dress from a friend who wanted it back. It was for my daughter. And my daughter walked over while I was painting one day and got little touches of it on her. And I worked so hard to try to get that little paint out of that dress. I felt terrible. I felt just simply terrible. All right, so I've done some scraping, and when it dries, it'll get lighter. If I still don't like it, I'll get my lime green fabric marker out and work on it. Okay, so here is this. All right, now, so I'm going to let those dry. They dry pretty fast, so let them dry. But now what we're going to work on is this is the fabric that's under here. And you can see it. And then here is the design on it. So what I do, now if I'm upstairs working on it, I don't worry about ironing it. But I'm down here. Oh, also, I want to know what border to put. I've got 2 striped fabrics with all the colors. So I will be asking you which border to put on it. I think I am going to use the black sashing, but okay. So now let me see. Okay. Aha. Right. So now you match up. You use, that's where it went. You use the pattern circle on the plain square background. And I'm taking this, I'm folding this in half. And I'll give it a quick little iron. Then I'll flip it. You just fold it in quarters because you want to find the center of that fabric. Now, I will be trimming these down later to get the correct size, but the center is still the center, so don't worry about that. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the circle. Fold it in half, and then fold it in half this way. So now I've got just a wedge of the circle, and I give that a press. And this is just the easy peasy, simple way of doing this. All right, now I'm going to take a safety pin. The reason I'm going to use a safety pin is because I was using a straight pin and ended up stabbing myself so many times. So watch what I do now. Now I open the fabric back up. You can always look and see what side of this you want. I think that's pretty, so I'm going to leave this side up. And see, now I can see right where the center is. I do the same then to this piece. I can see right where the center is. So what I do is on here, I put the safety pin right in the center. And then I come here and match this center. All right. So now I'm going to smooth it out and make sure that the pin is standing straight up in the center. That means I have the centers matched perfectly. Now, holding it very firmly right at that center, I pull the safety pin out and take a big bite and close it. And now I know that that circle is centered perfectly. Now, when I was upstairs, what I would do is come up here, come to the circle, and just pinch the circle over, not quite a quarter of an inch, somewhere between an eighth of an inch and a quarter of an inch. Just kind of go around and give it a light little pinch, because I'm going to show you needle turn applique. And having it pre-pinched just makes it a little bit easier and keeps it a little bit smoother as you stitch it down, because you don't want any lumps and bumps along that edge. You want it as smooth as possible. Now, let's say I didn't want to do needle turn. I could have cut the correct size, because see, this is the unfinished size. Take away a half an inch and then it'll be the finished size. But I could have taken that finished size, cut them out of freezer paper, and then ironed them to the back of the fabric. And then that way it would be smaller than this, and it would have already have that freezer paper line to turn it over to get a nice smooth edge. And I've seen people do it and they have beautiful work. Now what I'm going to do, just grab it here, tuck this under, making sure it's not quite a quarter of an inch, in between an eighth and a quarter, okay? Making sure it's nice and smooth. I'm going to come up from behind the fabric, and I'm going to take a little tiny nip of that edge, okay? See here? Then I go straight back down, then come up a little bit down, maybe an eighth of an inch down, and get just a little tiny nip of that edge. This is a very good skill to learn, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be with it. Now I like to go about 2 inches from where I'm sewing and come in. Now you can do it with a needle, but I just do it with my fingers. But normally it's called needle turn, because you can take the needle and just run it under the edge of the fabric and turn it. Now, just want to warn you that I like to use thin needles because it's easier on my fingers to get them in the fabric. But I've already broken 2 of these applique needles, because where you have put the paint on the fabric, it makes it a little bit tougher to get the needle through. So just make sure. I could use a much heavier needle, but then it would be harder to get it through the fabric. But I go straight back down from where I took the nibble, go straight back down, come up just a little bit away, right at the edge. If you want invisible stitches, come right up at that edge. And remember, you've got a seam allowance already tucked under, because some people are afraid, well, if I go too close to the edge. No, this is going to be, you're coming up about a quarter of an inch from the edge. So just pick up just that little edge, couple threads of fabric. Now, do you see where I need to turn it again? So when I get to about 2 inches from where I'm sewing, I go ahead and turn it under, like this, making sure that I have a nice, smooth, rounded edge to sew against, okay? Now, sometimes it'll want to kind of have a little hump. Make sure, even if you use the needle to carefully bring that hump back down, make sure that you have a smooth round circle, because if you have a hump and you stitch it, guess what? You're always going to have a hump there. Okay? So you just go around, and in less than 10 minutes, I usually have the circles sewn into place. So you just keep going around, and I'll show you my edge I've already sewn. You cannot, whoops, you cannot see stitches. Look at that. So that's something that comes with time and practice, and I love it. And I sometimes get a little prideful, so a little too proud of those stitches, but I've worked hard for 30 some years learning those stitches, probably 40 years now. But anyway, so you just keep going around like that. And then when you're all done, you just go back to the back, you tie a knot. See my little stitches here that I was making? So that's how you sew it on. Okay. And so then you end up with all of these wonderful blocks. And then what I think I'm going to do is put sashing. The black is very dramatic. Black sashing in between all the blocks. And then I'm kind of leaning towards that for the outer border. But this also has the white. So I might just, but I've got all of these colors. Oh, and I want to show you. This is already dry now. This is dry. So it doesn't take long. And then all I do, let me move this back. I just come with the regular iron and I iron it. And you don't even have to put a pressing cloth. You just iron over it and it's fine. Doesn't hurt your iron, doesn't leave anything. And there you go. Now, where is the little round one I did? It's somewhere around here, because I wanted to give that a press too to make sure that that is set. But it's somewhere under one of these piles. But anyway, hopefully that gives you the idea of what to do, how to do these cute little blocks. And these, it didn't take much fabric at all. I think the blocks are going to be 7¼ inches and finish at 6¾ That's what I'm thinking. Because you know what? I started out trying to cut them at 7½ inches. And one thing I noticed is as you do applique on them and the paint on them, they can kind of shrink up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is have them all done. Then I'm going to get a ruler and put it on this cutting mat. And then I'm going to just see which one is the smallest, cut them all down to the smallest size. And boop, there we go. You like the one with the white? Thank you, Mary. Thanks for telling me. Because I'm thinking that, maybe that will give it a nice clean border along the edge. So, but this was just fun. And every night I would work on it. And since it's so fast and easy to stitch all these together, it didn't take any time. And like I said, this is already dry. So, yes, I would like one day to go back and learn how to do a resist. But for right now, this quilt will be done. And I use different stencils, about 4 different kinds of stencils. And it's not, I kind of took the easy way from trying to do the stencil. But I think it's still going to have a great look. I appreciate seeing that inspiration because it gave me what I needed. It gave me a fun, fast, enjoyable, brand new project to kind of get me excited again. So, all right, it is show and tell time. If you give me just one moment, I have, let me see something here. Um, okay, I don't know. I thought I heard something on here, but nope. All right. So now, what do you iron it to set the paint? You are so good, Miss Mary. You knew. And by using the fabric medium, that's what makes it adhere to the fabric. Now, since you put some of the baking soda in it to thicken it, it's probably possible to flick off a little bit of it, but you don't put it on too thick. And then when you iron it, unless it gets some rough handling, it should be fine. All right, now let me real quick grab some things. Just give me a moment. And y'all have been doing a wonderful job of keeping up with me. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, here is save as. I got a couple pictures from Miss Julie. Give me a moment to get hers in the thing. It's so exciting. I apologize that I totally forgot. I knew I had to come down and work on that undersea quilt or that y'all would fire me. So, and I totally forgot to grab these. Right now, this time of year, it can be really tricky to get things done. And there's so much to do. All right, so I got that one. Let me just grab them real quick. I don't mean to keep y'all waiting like this, but I hate that people sent these on time and it was my fault to not get them. Oh, while I'm doing this, I thought I would tell you, Mayor um Kimura, well, she went to her oncologist who said her blood cancer numbers are so good that she doesn't have to go on chemo drugs yet. They're very stable. So she is a happy gal. And oops, I got a letter, an email from Cheryl Hogan. Oh, she sent me wonderful photos. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I got too anxious to hurry and I froze the system. So, okay, come on. It says it's restarting. Okay, here we go. I'll get this down. Ah, oh, I've got Lisa's colorway. Oh, Lisa, I think it's going to be beautiful. Oh, Lisa, that's lovely. All right, let me get her colorway in her folder. So, save as, and this is for Miss Lisa. It's so funny. I think I'm doing such a good job, and then I realize, oh, photos. Oops, made a boo boo. So, it's hard to get it all just right. Okay, this is for Miss Lisa. All right. Saved. You're going to love her colorway. I can just see it. And she's really good with the colors she chose. The one year we were working on this, and we were working, Miss Lisa, the first class we were doing, the first year we met, which wasn't last year, but the year before that, you had picked out the prettiest pinks. It was amazing. Okay, so I've got a picture here from Cheryl. Now I'm going to put a couple in Cheryl's. And we'll be right there, I promise. Okay, got that one. And she took a class. Oh, wow. Oh, I love this. I just, Cheryl Hogan's such a doll baby, and she's been such a great supporter to this group and the different ladies in it, and her support for breast cancer. And oh, love it. Okay. Oh, so she took classes from Cindy Loback on Resist. And so now I'll get to show you her great quilts. Okay, come on now. Don't click too much, Deb. You'll make a mess. Here we go. Good. Trying to calm myself down. Mark always says, Deb, I tend to click, click, click. You know, I try to do everything too fast. All right. Now this one is Mary's. Ooh, yay. So let me go to Mary's folder. And if you give me just a moment, I promise to have these ready and show you. Okay. All right. Oh, yay. All right. I think I'm almost. Oh, these are her Mary's leaves. They're lovely. Save as Miss Mary's. All right. So, for some of you who might live in Minnesota, we've been watching, what's the name of Highland Hills camera of their skiers, and what fun it is. What absolute fun. So, if any of y'all live near Highland Hills, you are lucky, lucky people. All right. I couldn't get the last one, Mary, of the trees. So I'm going to come back. I'll get that for next week. But let's do show and tell. Turn off the lamp. Turn my stuff around here. Turn off my sewing machine. I don't know why I had the sewing machine on. But okay. Let's get this set up and show you show and tell. And I don't know if I showed pictures that I had last week, but I've got them for this week. Because, you know, I don't often seem to have good pictures. Oh, look, this camera's doing great. All right, now let's bring up show and tell. Thank you for everyone for keeping us supplied with wonderful show and tell photos. Oh, well, mine opened up. Is this? No, 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 not this one. Let me see. December 8th? Huh. I guess this is. All right. Well, let me see. Here, here is our old dryer that broke that Mark fixed. And let me try to skip over this real quick. There is the quilt that I worked on while I was at the retreat, and I haven't even touched it. I haven't even been able to sit down and sew with my beautiful sewing machine, but soon I will. There's a picture of Mark. When I go off on a trip, we take pictures of each other and send each day. This is my granddaughter Charlie, who I sew with, the one I made the covered cushions with. They drove up to the mountains of North Carolina to a tree farm because they wanted to make sure to support the people who had had such a hard time with Hurricane Helene. So I'm so proud of them. I've shown you this quilt, I think. It was a mystery quilt that I chose pink and orange, my two least favorite colors, and made a wonderful quilt with. And when Charlie was 5, I put her behind my long arm quilting frame and let her do some of the quilting. So what fun. Oh, this is Mark. It's one of the dinners he made for himself when I was away at the retreat. Then this is one of the smorgasbords my daughter and her Andy put together. Now let me see. Oh, hold on. Oh, this is, yeah, I showed y'all when my machine got TP'd. Okay, what what am I trying? I don't need to show you all these photos, so let me see. What is this. Oh, this is the old dryer vent. Look at that mess. I'm so glad we put a new dryer vent in. All right. This is my granddaughter Charlie and my grandson Evan. They went to, yeah, this is when they went to get their tree, or was this when they went to the state fair at Raleigh? I think it was the state fair. Yeah, they were doing. So here is the new dryer, yay, and the new dryer vent, which was probably the important part. Okay, now let me find another. My daughter put up her little swirl tree quilt that I made for her 3 years ago. She put it up at her work. I love that. And I don't know if I showed you the finished of the cushions we covered for Charlie's um, window seat, but doesn't that look wonderful and comfortable? So we did a good job on those. Let me see what's next. Oh, they took Andy's mom, went with them to get the Christmas tree. So I love that. And oh, this is Evan at the state fair. What a cutie. Okay. And whoops, sorry. And then here are Andy, Becky, and Charlie freezing at the Christmas tree farm. So cute. And when I got back from my retreat, Mark and I made a little snack just to celebrate me being back home and us being back together. It was a lot of fun. We had some cantaloupe with prosciutto around it. We made some bruschetta. We had a cheese board, little smokies, and some vegetables. It was fun. We love doing stuff like that to make a little celebration out of next to nothing. So, okay, I think that those are the new photos I had been wanting to show you. All right, so now let's go to show and tell and see what y'all have done. And we love Miss Alberta's birthday. A quilt celebrating her birthday and their trip to Alaska. Her sister took her to Alaska for her birthday. And I love that. Okay. Now, let's see who is next. Show and tell. And Bonnie. Oh, yes. I want to show you. Um, where is it? Her baby quilt. Oh, I had asked her, who is Nora? And she did quilt testing for this designer. And this is Nora. And I think that is just the sweetest quilt. So thank you for sharing that with us, Bonnie. And then her other newest was her baby dragon red work that she's doing, and got to show her amazing. Oh, and that's right. When I make this large, it doesn't come out as clear as it should. But isn't that beautiful? Wow. What great black work. All right. Now let's see who is, because I've got a good number of brand new photos I'm going to share with you. Um, Debbie, let me see. Yeah, she had a couple wonderful fall quilts. You remember this? Lovely. And this one, I love any kind of star. Isn't that wonderful? And then she sent this for grins, but boy, is that a quilt that needs to be made. So I love that. All right, let's see who is next. Miss Dolores. I did show these once, but boy, I think these deserve a second look. Remember that Miss Dolores is our pardon me, our official resident artist. She is amazing. She's had her work seen nationally. She has commissions that she fulfills that customers are very happy with. She goes to art shows and sells beautiful work. She's had her work in magazines, but is it? Look at those mushrooms, chanterelles. Oh, just beautiful. Very talented lady, our Dolores. Way to go, Miss Dolores, hon. Oh, isn't that amazing? Okay, now let's go back and oh yes, Jody finished this quilt that is called a Davenport. And I can remember that name because I had a friend who was from Wisconsin and called sofas Davenports. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? She did this quickly too. And with all her hours of working, and look at her first miter. It is beautiful. Way to go, Miss Jody. That's a gorgeous miter. Don't worry. Miss Jody said she's fine. She's just working like 12 and a half hour days and until Christmas or the beginning of the new year, she's going to be a very busy lady. But she sent her best, and I did notice it looks like she has a new show posted too. So don't forget her channel, which is her channel is Quilt Squirrel. And here is Miss Jody's Joni, pardon me, Miss Joni's confetti quilt that I think is museum quality. That is absolutely stunning. I just love that thing so much. Way to go, Miss Joni. All right, let's see who is next. Let's see. Miss Julie just sent us some new ones, so let's see what these are all about. Oh, oh, it's a cemetery, a snowy cemetery. That is so pretty with wreaths. And oh my gosh, her quilting is amazing. Let me see if I can bring it a little bit bigger. Well, that's a little bit more bigger than I wanted. Um, look at this. Look at this. How beautiful. She does a lot of veterans work. And oh, remember. Oh, so this is a Veterans Day quilt, I bet. Isn't that beautiful? Quilting is gorgeous. Miss Julie, you are so talented. And I have a feeling this is hand embroidered. It might be thread sketched, but what an exquisite quilt. Oh, look at this. I tell you what, is Miss Julie talented or what? Y'all are amazing. Whoops. No, I didn't mean. There we go. I wanted to see if having a light on would show some of the background, but I'm not sure it does. Now, I'm going to move that out of the way. But isn't that beautiful? Wow, Miss Julie. That's amazing, hon. And these are the trees she sent me a while back. Here is the quilt that she made that was raffled off to a veteran who was very happy to win it. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Miss Julie, if I could give you a grade, it would be A plus, hon. That is absolutely exquisite. And let's see up a little close. Look at the quilting. Look at the snow on the steps. Wow. I am so impressed. I'm so impressed, Miss Judy. Julie, pardon me. Came out funny. Okay, so that was that one. Let's go back. Okay, here's Miss Lisa's colorway for her sparrow quilt. Look at this baby. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I can't wait to. And I'll send you a picture when, or if she has a picture of her fabrics, she can send them to me. Or when we get to class, I'll take a picture and send them to you because she is really, really, really good with choosing colors for her quilts. Can't wait to see that come together. Yay. All right. And I tell you, it is very nice to be able to go on sites and get ideas of colorways. All right. So here are Miss Mary from Arkansas. And she went out and took pictures of trees. And I love how oak trees can hold on to their leaves till the last minute. Now, I think this was something to show us the size of something. Oh, I didn't read. I just downloaded them real quick, Miss Mary. Oh, and look at that little maple coming up in the middle of all those other leaves. Isn't that sweet? All right. And oh, these look like irises. Oh, they're beautiful. Already showing a little promise for next year. That's nice. Oh, look at that. That's a one. It looks like a cedar tree. Lovely. I love cedars. They're great volunteers. It's like nature's Christmas tree. I love this. I remember this one collection. Isn't it funny how you can take some things and you can make your own quick collage, and it's lovely. Even the button. She found the button, so she put it in there. I love that. And look at this. It looks like a type of dogwood. I'm not really sure, though. That's beautiful, hon. All right, so thank you for showing us. That's her cyclamen plant. I cannot grow those. I'm too clumsy to grow them. But that's lovely. You do a wonderful job. All right, everybody, let's see. We're going back. We're just about done, but we've got a few more. Let me see. What did Melton? Oh my goodness. Her quilting is exquisite. Look at this. I mean, honest to goodness. Isn't that beautiful? Mm, I I just love what she's done. Beautiful. Okay. And she has come a whole long way. I love this photo because it shows the 3D nature of this and how if you quilt it more heavily, it recedes. And if you don't quilt it heavily, it comes forward. It's beautiful. All right, let me see. Don't forget her website is Swan Art Quilt, and support her website if you need to find Christmas gifts for friends. And she's on Etsy. Swan Quilt Art. Okay, now let's see. Oh, yes, I want to show one more time. I love these placemats. I love her embroidery. She has a look all of her own. It's a happy, playful look. Just lovely. Okay. Now, pardon me for my hiccups, since Mitty's here, we'll have to show one of her beautiful postcards. Isn't that wonderful? We have shown them numerous times, and I just didn't have the heart yet to delete them. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, yes, we have to show Miss Polly's wonderful confetti quilt. Look at that. And I just love her background, the strips of background. Her quilting is gorgeous. Love, love, love it. Okay. So now, let me see. Cheryl sent us these wonderful quilts. She took a class from the same woman doing resist. Look at these fabrics. Look at the resist dyeing she did. And she took a class from that woman from the article that I showed you, that I got the idea to just do a painted design from stencils. Miss Cindy Lobeck. And Miss Cindy Loback experiments with all kinds of resist. Look at this. Look at some of these amazing designs. They're gorgeous. So, well, how wonderful to take a class. And I tell you what, it is there's Cheryl with a quilt. Look at this cutie quilt. Dinner buffet, it's called. Oh, do you see all the birdies in the trees and the cats below? Oh, that is so sweet. I love that. I love it. Isn't that wonderful? And so I guess she's had this displayed at, is this the Houston Quilt Show? I don't know. That is wonderful. Oh, Cheryl, it's lovely. It's cute as can be. Those kitties are just so cute. And look at this. This is done with resist. Isn't that beautiful? It makes a wonderful kaleidoscopic mandala. And I just love that. So remember the name, Cindy Loback. If you ever get a chance to take one of her classes, please do. And don't forget, Mancuso has a lot of wonderful classes. Let me see. I don't think we have. No, 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 no. Let me see. Show and tell. I think we are Miss Vicky. I think I've seen all of these. So, yep. All right. So that's it for today. I'm sorry we ran a little long. When I do demonstrations, it always takes a little longer than I think because I never know how much to show you or how much just to trust that you know what to do. So, I do apologize for that. Okay, let me come back to y'all. If you have any questions, please just let me know. You are always such a joy to me. I love spending these days. Yes, Cindy Lobeck. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. On your trip coming and going, you were taking pictures of trees. I have a project in mind, and you saw beautiful sunsets. Are you like me where you're traveling somewhere or you're watching something on TV and you see the perfect scene for that one landscape that you really want to make? That's the joy. I have a folder so full of those, and that to me is the joy of looking forward to the future and what will I make next? And that's a good thing. Be very happy about that because that's a very, very good thing. Thank you for spending this time with me. Y'all are amazing. Infinity mirrors. Yes, that's what it does sometime when I shut this, change something. But thank you very, very much for spending this time with me. And I hope you have a good week ahead. Just coming up Friday, my daughter, Katie, and her husband, David, and their two dogs, they have grown children now, that they're coming for a visit. And we're going to go get some of the best Chinese food you ever would want, from Mr. Lou's. And my kids, Baltimore, everywhere. They know Mr. Lou's, so we've promised them. And I'm going to make a Hershey's chocolate pound cake. That recipe has been around for 50 some years. So I've got that to do and a house to clean. So I'm going to have a busy week, but it's going to be a great week because it's going to end up with my Katie girl here. I just hope you have a wonderful week and you're doing something fun in some little way of celebrating, making some cheese logs or whatever makes you happy. Thank you once again to Marcia for being the bestest. Now I forgot what they're called. Monitors. Just a friendly lady. And I hope that you'll give some stencil painting a chance because what a cool way to make up your own fabric and take something plain and turn it into a work of art. Take good care. I'll see you next Sunday. Mwah. Bye-bye, everybody. And hopefully my tree is up. So hopefully I'll have it all decorated and send you pictures. Take good care. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. Wonderful to spend time with you. Bye-bye.